Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 15th May 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Church raked over the coals for Chiding members who attended gospel concert as part of the St. Lucia Jazz Festival. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Members of a local church have found themselves in deep water after participating in a jazz event. Tourism Minister Dr. Ernest Hilaire shared his thoughts on the issue, which has sparked public debate about the involvement of the church leadership in the personal affairs of the flock. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
Last Wednesday, thousands of patrons attended the Kingdom Night Jazz event at Pigeon Island, which featured local and international gospel artists and drew in many Christian attendees. One religious organization, however, is reportedly not pleased that some of its members attended the event and has sanctioned them for their participation. A message from the church surfaced on social media over the weekend, stating that its members had been repeatedly cautioned about attending the event. As a result of their defiance, they have been placed on probation, which restricts them from actively engaging or leading any church-organized activities. This issue has sparked a public discussion, with many people expressing their opinions on social media. During Monday's pre-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, the Minister for Tourism, was asked to share his thoughts on the matter.
I've learned to leave things of that nature for those better suited to comment on it, and that's for the spiritual leaders to comment on what should or should not be. But I think, as a person, as you asked, it's fantastic that we have Kingdom Night for Christians to come and celebrate their faith through song and music. If there are churches that believe you should not celebrate faith and spirituality through song and music, that's their teachings. I respect it. I wouldn't be going to that church, but it's their faith, it's their preachings. And if the church says you should not go, then I guess you either choose the church or whatever. For me, I don't know. That's for the church to decide and to guide its followers accordingly.
The Kingdom Night event was added to the St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival lineup last year to cater to the gospel lovers crowd. Headlined by acclaimed minister Donnie McClurkin, this year's event brought together a lineup of gospel acts including Colin Davis, Tabitha Prosper, and Nigella St. Clair Daniel. The tourism minister noted that the event, much like other main stage events, was well attended and got rave reviews.
I thought the night was fantastic. I enjoyed it, and we're looking forward next year to have an even more exciting lineup for Kingdom Night. I don't know, it's reached a point that most Christians in St. Lucia do not support Kingdom Night. I don't think that's the situation. In fact, by the turnout and the way persons enjoy themselves, I believe there's a strong support for Kingdom Night. And for sure, it's going to stay on the agenda for now. And if any church wants to discipline their members for participating, that's their own choice.
As indicated in the letter, members of the church who attended this year's event are to be on probation until the church's Council of Ministers has given permission. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
In other news, commenting on the Firearms Amendment Bill that was being discussed 9th May 2024 in the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis, Alexis Jeffers, opposition member of parliament, believed that the legislation must be sophisticated enough to deal with the realities relating to gun crimes. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline has more.
He pointed out, for example, that the proposed legislation had not addressed the assembling of guns in the Federation nor the use of so-called ghost guns.
Now, I wanted to add another word to that if I possibly can, or if we possibly can. Assemble. And what I mean by assemble, guns can be brought in pieces and assembled here in the Federation. It is being done, Madam Speaker. There are times when you hear a piece of gun come in this week, may have come before. And so there must be some way of dealing with that as well too. Because we have different types of guns in the Federation. You hear about AK-47, you hear about AR-15, you hear about Beretta 9mm, whatever they are. But there's also something called a ghost gun. You know what a ghost gun is? It's a ghost one that cannot be traced because they bring it in a certain way and all of the serial numbers are gone. So these are the things that we have to think about when we are looking at these pieces of legislation and understand what is happening out there on the streets. You listen to what is going on and you understand we have some serious problems on our hands. And that is why I do believe this piece of legislation, in terms of it being one that is being brought forward, that is to act as a deterrent, it must also be practical in nature so as to make sure we are capturing what is happening out there on the streets. People are becoming sophisticated now. And the laws have to be sophisticated and they have to be in such a way where you cover your bases as much as you can so that at least we know that the legislations that we are bringing to Parliament are wholesome in their approach in addressing the issues.
On the matter of the proposed amnesty on firearms and ammunition, MP Jeffers said he was supportive of that opportunity and encouraged persons with illegal firearms to make use of the amnesty when it is operationalized.
Amnesty is one that I support 100%. And I believe all of us must lend our voice to it by encouraging all those out there, men, women, young and old, whoever you are, and you have an illegal gun in your possession, use this opportunity to turn that firearm into the authorities. And save yourself down the road any of the difficulties that may ensue if you fail to do so. Some may say they prefer to endure the penalties than to rid themselves of what is their protection. Some are saying that, I'm sure. Because some people hold dear to what they have, illegal or otherwise. So I'm saying, though, that the first step that you must take is to rid yourself of your illegal firearm and understand that the repercussions of not doing so will be waiting for you down the road.
3 bills were brought to the sitting of the National Assembly, all aimed at addressing crime and violence, especially in relation to the use of firearms. Glenn Bark reporting for SKN Newsline.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Over in Trinidad, just a few days after the Finance Minister Colm Imbert announced an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the 2023 Public Accounts Report matter, the Auditor General's legal team has called for it to be cancelled. On Sunday, Freedom Chambers, representing Auditor General Jaiwanti Ramdas, issued a pre-action protocol letter to Minister Imbert, calling the investigation illegal. CNC3's Joshua Simangal reports.
Acting Prime Minister Colm Imbert has been given until 4 p.m. on Wednesday to respond to a pre-action protocol letter sent by the Auditor General's legal team. If Minister Imbert fails to respond, Freedom Chambers will file a claim for judicial review challenging the legality of the investigation announced on May 7th. The investigation, headed by retired Justice David Harris, was set up to investigate the circumstances surrounding the dispute which followed the Auditor General's Public Accounts 2023 report. The letter calls on the minister to cancel or recall the investigation. Ramdas's attorneys say neither the minister nor the cabinet has the constitutional jurisdiction and lawful authority to investigate the action and conduct of the Auditor General. They say it is only the Public Service Commission under Section 121 of the Constitution that has jurisdiction. The letter also states that the risk of bias in the finance minister appointing an investigative team is clear and self-evident. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar previously argued that only the Public Service Commission has the authority to investigate the Auditor General. In last week's post-cabinet media briefing, Minister Imbut called her argument nonsense. Joshua Simongal, CNC3 News.
Still on Trinidad, after months of infighting within the United National Congress over the National Executive and NATEX elections, the party has announced that June 15th would be polling day. CNC3's Kevin Feldman reports.
The road to having a new national executive for the United National Congress or a fresh mandate for the incumbents begins Monday. It's a victory, Shogunas West MP Dinesh Rambali claims, as he and several other UNC members clamored for the hosting of the internal elections in recent months. Despite some satisfaction, Rambali labels the announcement astounding, recalling that just a Friday, the chairman had said the party had not yet announced a date. He said NATEX members previously said the UNC was in general elections mode and an internal election wasn't in their best interest.
It is clear that the party chairman did not know that a date was being set and to be announced by the General Secretary. And if in fact the party chairman knew that a date was being set, why did he simply not say that, look, an announcement would be made soon, as opposed to the usual rhetoric that we have been hearing for the past few months, that elections would be called when the elections are constitutionally due.
But Tanku says there is nothing nefarious or odd about the announcement. He said when CNC3 spoke to him on Friday, the party did not yet announce the date. However, they simply decided following the interview in keeping with its constitution.
They would love to take credit for all kinds of decisions of the party, but the party does not take decisions on the basis of whims and fancies. We act within the Constitution, which was clear and which was stated from the very first day. That is, people are so desperate to take credit for things that has nothing to do with their own action. Maybe they should do something and then take credit for it.
Political scientist Dr. Shane Mohammed agrees. He says Rambali and his fellow MPs tried to preempt the party's decision. He said what exists within the party is mounting pressure on the political leader to step down.
Did they want an internal election that included the political leadership opening up the position for election? If that's the case, that was squarely the prerogative of the political leader and nobody else. The Constitution allows for the political leader to decide whether he or she will be putting themselves up for re-election prior to their term in office coming to an end.
Mohammed said Persad-Bissessar's term ends in June 2025, so challenging her leadership that way would be fruitless. He said the only way to quell the uneasiness within the party now is a free and fair election. Kevin Feldman, CNC3 News.
2 United States Navy fighter jets conducted a joint military exercise over Guyana late last week. This operation was part of a partnership between Guyana and the United States to ensure regional security and stability. HGP's Dacia Richards reports.
United States Southern Command on Thursday at around 2 p.m. conducted a flyover exercise in Guyana. This exercise followed an interview President Irfan Ali had with United States Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner in April about regional security and stability. The 2 U.S. Navy aircraft FA-18F Super Hornets coordinated with the Guyana Defense Force for a flyover over Georgetown. This exercise is part of military-to-military partnership between Guyana and the United States. Just recently, U.S. Southern Command Strategy, Policy and Plans Director Major General Julie Netterquat and Guyana Defense Force Chief of Staff Brigadier Omar Khan discussed security cooperation and security assistance between the two countries. The government of Guyana in a statement reiterated that Thursday's flyover was conducted as part of the Defense Pact between Guyana and the United States, and it seeks to deepen the ongoing security cooperation. Meanwhile, the United States Embassy Guyana added that this is a part of the U.S. Navy vessel's worldwide defense mission to routinely transit international waters and will conduct similar exercises and exchanges with various partners and allies. It was also stated that the countries both share a goal of, quote, strong, peaceful and prosperous Guyana and a powerful, capable national defense force, end of quote. For AGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.